So in today's video, I will be showing you guys the new updated best keyboard and mouse settings for Chapter 6 Season 3 that have let me hit Unreal in multiple seasons of Battle Royale and Reload. But before we get into the settings, I'm going to show you guys what your gameplay can expect to look like after getting used to these settings. So many kids in there. Of course, these settings won't guaranteed make you better at Fortnite, so feel free to copy them and then tweak them to your liking. Alright, so I like to play windowed full screen. Some people like to play full screen, but I like windowed full screen since you can switch windows easily. And then I do play stretch res, so 720 by 1080 is what I play on. I sometimes play with VSync. It just makes my game a little bit smoother and doesn't give me that much extra delay. 240 FPS, performance mode, this will give you the best delay. Brightness on 96, and then user interface contrast on 1.02. I've actually recently turned colorblind off. I used to use Detronope, but now I use off just because it makes the colors a little bit more vibrant. And then I don't really know what this does, but 3D resolution, keep this at 100 so stuff is not blurry. View distance, this is nice to be on epic since it doesn't give you that much extra delay and it helps you see farther. Textures on low, meshes on low. Show FPS on, off latency markers, and then this I like on plus boost because it gives me a little bit less delay. On my audio, I usually keep them all at like 50%, voice chat on 23 because some kids have really loud mics. Sound quality, you're going to want this on high so you can hear a little bit more visual sound effects a little bit farther. 3D headphones on, notifications only, and this is just my voice chat settings. This doesn't really matter here. I play on NA East, toggle sprint on, auto open doors off, mantle activation, hold jump. Mantle activation, hold jump. You don't want this on hold forward because sometimes it'll cancel a medkit or mantle when you don't want it to. Hold pick off off. This is on for some reason. Swap fire buttons for pump and dump. This doesn't really matter because the pump and dump's not even in the game. Auto sort consumables to the right. I like to have this on, and then here are my preferred item slots. This is what I like. You can copy them if you want, but these work for me really well. Then we have reset building choice actually is off, turbo building on. Simple edit, I don't play with simple edit. And then I do have disable pre-edits and sometimes it messes up my edits. Auto confirm edits I actually have on edit because instead of having it on both, it allows you to do things like this, which is pretty cool, which you can't do when it's on both. Contextual chips obviously off, and these are mostly on. I don't really know what these do. FOV obviously max. Record replays, so you should actually have these off because it gives you a little bit less delay. I have them on just for video recordings. It's sometimes nice. And then energy saving, this doesn't really matter. You should probably turn this on never, just for the least delay. Then in my game UI, the reticle is off since I actually use a custom crosshair. Reticle ammo indicator is still on because I want to see that even though I have a custom crosshair. And then none of these really matter. First person. Damage number scale, I like to keep it on a 125 so I can make sure I can see all those damage numbers. HUD scale, I keep it like 76 just so it's not too big, not too small. And then these are all on. Nothing really matters here. Gyro doesn't really matter unless you play on Switch because this can be helpful. I just keep this on the default settings. It doesn't really matter. You can just turn these all off. Alright, and then my mouse and keyboard settings. So I actually play with 21.9 and 25.1 on X and Y sensitivity, which seems pretty high, but I also play with a really low DPI. Targeting sensitivity at 91.1, 89.8 on scope sensitivity, and then 100 here. It doesn't really matter. Zoom scaling on legacy, and I don't use custom diagonals. Now to my binds here. So we just have the normal binds here, and then crouch is just control. Auto run, I actually use caps lock because I really like that for jumping out of the bus and just instantly caps locking. Reload on R. Weapon slots are just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then use is scroll wheel up. And here's these settings. Okay, building, I actually use the default building bind, surprisingly. So wall is Z, floor is X, stairs is C, roof is V, and trap is actually T. Pair is just H, rotate building R, none of these really matter. Building edit, I actually use F to edit, and then of course I have scroll wheel down here so that I can also have scroll wheel down here and have my scroll wheel reset. Okay, same thing here, toggle text chat, this doesn't really matter, communication, and then none of these really matter. I keep my emote on P so I don't accidentally hit it since it's across my entire keyboard. Toggle pickaxe, I use my front mouse button 5 here, and then quick bar, none of this really matters. Okay, map is M. Hover, flying, writing. If you really need these settings, you can pause the video, but none of them really matter. They're just all on default. Alright, onto my controller settings. I do play a little bit of controller, so these might be a little helpful. Edit hold time, this doesn't really matter. You can keep this on low because I use separate controller binds for editing and switching mode. Quick weapon, I don't use that. Sensitivity, I have build mode as 1.7 and edit mode as 1.7 as well. First person doesn't matter. Advanced options obviously on. Look horizontal speed and vertical are both 37. Horizontal boost is 10 and 8 for vertical. Ramp boost time 20. I've heard that's kind of good. And then ADS look and vertical 15 and 13. I've seen that those are pretty good for the best aim assist because they did actually recently buff aim assist. Look dampening time 0.20. And then precision aim assist and tracking aim assist are both at 100 because they did buff the aim assist, so that does help a little bit. Dead zones are just 9 and 8. Foot controller vehicles, none of that really matters. Alright, onto my controller binds. I do use obviously custom, and then I have this on PlayStation 4. So jump is X, crouch is just right stick, sprint is left stick, just normal binds there. And then my reload is square. My pickaxe is circle since it's closer to my hand. None of this really matters. Weapon canting, it's just okay. Building pretty much all the same. I just use default build binds here. Toggle map is actually up here on my D-pad. It's kind of nice. Toggle inventory is this one up here. And then switch mode, I know it seems like that would be a little bit awkward to press, but I actually have it binded to a paddle. So one of my paddles presses that. It's actually my left paddle. Or no, it's actually my right paddle. And then same thing with my edit building. That's my left paddle. So it shows a D-pad button, but it's really bound to a paddle. Inventory, select, reset. I actually use L2, here the trigger. And then emote, sometimes I like to unbind this just so I don't accidentally hit it, but none of these really matter. Miscellaneous, map zoom out, map zoom in, and of course I don't use gyro options or any of these other things. So yeah, that's my settings. To really get the right settings, you have to see what works for you, but I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to use code EDOGPRO in your Fortnite item shop, and comment below if you play on console or PC. Subscribe.